Joining us here on the Morning Majority.
Thank you for having me.
Well, the president's got a big speech, and we'll talk all about that. We want to hear more about it, but we have to get to something that our listeners have been commenting about over the last couple of days, and it had to do with that Labor Day event. The president takes the stage, but a few minutes before he did that, Jimmy Hoffa Jr. was on the stage and said that he had an army ready to do the president's bidding and to...
Let's take these son of a bitches out and give America back to America where we belong.
Now, yesterday, Dan, there were many opportunities for the White House to say that was language that was over the top, to say that perhaps the rhetoric had gone too far. Jay Carney had time again was given the opportunity to do that and refused to do it. Does it mean then that there is tacit approval at the White House at the things that Mr. Hoffa has said?
No, I think that this is a bit of a parlor game in Washington, which is let's try to take anything that anyone who supports a politician or the president or one of these Republican candidates says and pin it on them and make the president has to serve as the speech police for the Democratic Party, and so when someone from the Republicans do the same thing.
But Dan, he said that he had an army ready to do the president's bidding, and that it was time to take the SOBs out. That's a sort of a harsh thing that you should say before the president of the United States speaks. The president has called for, a greater and higher political discourse in this country. This doesn't seem to meet the standard.
Well, look, that's a judgment for you guys to make. It's a judgment for others to make. I don't think what the president went there to talk about what he was going to do to create jobs and grow the economy. That's what he's going to do on Thursday night. And I can promise you that I would do nothing else with my day if it was only to serve as the person to approve or disapprove of what every person in the Democratic Party or who supports the president says.
So I just have to ask you, do you think this is appropriate language in that event?
Look, I wasn't at that event. I wasn't there.
But you heard it. You've heard the tape. Come on,
you know all about it.
What's that?
You've heard it. You've listened to it. No doubt it's been out there. You know what was said. I'm asking you now in retrospect, was that appropriate language to be used at a presidential event?
Look, I think playing the sort of gotcha game where you get the White House to...
So you're not going to disavow these comments either?
I am going... We are focused on what the president's saying, what the president wants to do, and how we move forward, and we're not going to get caught in sort of distractions like this.
Okay, so then we won't hear anybody from the White House then ask a Republican to take back a comment that somebody may make in the future if it may go possibly over the line.
If you were asking me whether we're going to ask someone to be responsible for everything that was said at every event, I don't know if you've ever heard us do that.
Well, 2008, actually, there was calls for John McCain when Bill Cunningham made reference before speech to take back what he said. So it's been done.
Well, I was on that campaign. I have zero recollection of that, but that's not surprising considering that whole 2-year period of my life is sort of a blur.
All right.
So I don't remember what that was. I don't know whether we called for that. I don't remember certainly doing that myself. I don't remember the president doing that.
Okay. So civility then is just up to each individual. It has nothing to do with John Boehner, has nothing to do with Barack Obama, and has nothing to do with other leaders of certain parties.
No, what everyone should do is make their best judgments of how they be civil. What I don't think makes sense is to turn it is to distract from the major issues at hand to try to get everyone to go back and approve and disapprove of every single thing that every person has said. And
but it seems fair to me, given that the tone and the rhetoric and that entire message has been a central part of who Barack Obama is as a president and as a leader, that this makes me wonder, did he really mean it, or was he just using it in the wake of other people saying things that the party he didn't particularly agree with?
No, I mean, you have heard the president has carried himself in a certain way and will continue to carry himself in a way that is where he is civil, respectful, is someone who is willing through and gets much guff from his own party for doing it, for being willing to look for his agreement with even people he has vehement disagreements with. Look at who some of his people he has worked closely with on, like Senator Tom Coburn, who agrees on almost nothing with the president, but where they can find small areas of agreement, they'll work together. And so that's who the president is. That's the campaign he ran in 2008. It's the campaign he's going to run in 2012. What I don't think makes sense is to say, okay, is to then try to get off the major issues in hand by taking everything that anyone says at an event that the president attends as a guest, and ask the president to approve or disapprove.